It's Melissa Ross here, your mindset coach with Rise to Wellness, your children's yoga instructor with Breathe With Me Yoga. Welcome to episode 9, I believe, of Matt Chat. Boundaries. It's an interesting one because boundaries are everywhere. Boundaries are involved in every aspect of our lives. And it's not just adults who need to set boundaries, it's children too. And it's something that we don't all recognize. It's something that we don't all do. And it's really important. It's important to our mental health. It's important to the way we live our lives. It's important to how other people treat us. So what does it mean to set boundaries? What does that look like? Boundaries are everywhere in our lives. So boundaries come right down to every single interaction we have with everyone. So when you have an interaction with someone and you have a discussion with somebody, you're teaching them in how you react to them and how you talk to them, how to treat you. And in teaching them how to treat you, you are setting your boundary. You're setting where it is. You're telling that person, this is where my boundary lies. This is what I'm comfortable with, right? So how you react and how you talk to that person in communication teaches that person what they can and can't do with you and say with you. And it comes right down to, say, children. When we, lots of parents, there's lots of controversy over forcing our children to hug when they don't want to hug, or like a relative, or, give high fives, or give a kiss to a relative when they're leaving, right? There's lots of controversy and lots of talk around whether or not as parents we should be forcing our children to do that. And that comes down to boundaries, because that's our children at that young age setting their boundary and telling us what they're comfortable with. So do we want them to be comfortable and open with all of our family members? Yes, we do. We want them to be huggers, and we want them to show love and show gratitude to family and friends. But do we want them to compromise boundaries? No, we don't. We want them to have their feelings and know what that feels like inside them, and follow their intuition when it comes to people. And it's the same as adults. We want to follow our intuition and follow what our body's telling us, and teach people how to treat us. Now, if you for example, as a parent, if you always let your children come home and do a certain thing, or eat a certain food, or have a certain snack, then you're teaching your children that that's okay, that practice is okay. And I'm not choosing something in particular. I'm just saying whatever that practice is, you're teaching your children that practice is okay. So it goes the same for the other way. If you let them get away with a behavior and you don't deal with that behavior, then you're teaching them that behavior is okay. So if it's a disrespectful behavior, then you're teaching them that it's okay to do that disrespectful thing, at least to you, because other adults will be setting those boundaries as well. So they may go somewhere else, and they may find that disrespect is not accepted at school, or with a grandparent, or with another parent, and that's that other adult setting that boundary. So even in parenting, and even children growing up are setting those boundaries. And the reason why that's really important, friends, is because it teaches people how to treat us. It teaches people what comfort zone is, and it dictates how our life is going to play out, right? It dictates how people are going to interact with us, and it dictates the experience that we are going to have in our lives, and the experience that we're going to have with other people. Now, if I let people talk to me disrespectfully and say disrespectful things to me, or borrow money from me all the time, or have other behaviors with me, then that's what I'm going to get, right? That's what I'm going to experience because that's what I'm putting out there and that's what I'm allowing. But if I don't allow that and I put that boundary there, then that's the experience that I'm going to have. I'm going to have that experience of not having those things happen to me. It's going to be a more positive experience, right? Because I'm teaching people that that's my boundary. And it same goes for how people talk to your kids and treat your kids. So if I allow someone to disappoint my children, or if I allow someone to speak to my children in a certain way or treat them in a certain way, then I'm setting that boundary with my children, right? So it completely dictates what our experience is in life. Hi, Mom. My mom's watching. Hope you're well tonight. So it dictates when we set those boundaries and we have those interactions with people, it dictates what our experience is going to be. Now, the question is, do you want to have a positive experience or do you want to have a negative experience? What experience, ask yourself, what experience do I want? And how do I want to be talked to and how do I want to be treated? So if there's something that you don't like, if there's a behavior, hi Rachel, hope you're well tonight. If there's a behavior that you're not comfortable with, then it's up to you to let people know in whatever way you can that you're not comfortable with that behavior so that you have a positive experience with those people. And whether it's your children or whether it's other adults or whether it's strangers, you set that boundary for those people so that they know what's okay and what's not. And if you don't set that boundary, then you're not going to have a positive experience with those people because they're going to continually push that boundary and push that line. So that's why setting boundaries is important, people. And it's not just the setting of the boundary, it's realizing what your boundary is. So it's really doing that deep inner work to find out why something's pushing your buttons, because sometimes we have a negative experience and we don't really know why. We blame it on other people. Well, how dare that person say that to me, or how dare that person speak to me that way, right? And most times it's because we've allowed that behavior. We allowed it once maybe, and because of that one experience, they've decided, or that it's taught that person that it's okay for that to happen, right? And so if we actually nip it in the bud and we don't allow that first time, or we allowed it that first time and realized we weren't comfortable with it and it didn't feel nice, the next time we have to nip it in the bud and say, you know what, actually, I'm not comfortable with that. Could you please not go there? And most times it's not a matter of having to actually be that blunt and say, this is my boundary. Most times it's just in the way we talk to people. And in the language that we use, in the body language that we use, and in the words that we use to let them know that that's not something that's within our comfort level or something that we're willing to be okay with, right? So think to yourselves the next time you're in a situation like that when something really bothers you or irks you and you think, well, what's wrong with that person? How dare they treat me like that, or how dare they say that to me? Think about your past experiences with that person and think about whether or not you set that boundary. Did you tell that person inadvertently that it was okay to treat you that way, or okay to speak to you that way, or okay to do that thing, whatever it is? Because most times we have put that out there. We've put that out into the universe. We've set our boundary, inadvertently set our boundary with those people, and we've allowed that behavior to happen. So look inwards, my friends, when there's boundary issues, or when you have issues with someone else, or when you're kind of upset about something that's happened. Look inwards and discover, what can I do to set that boundary with that person and let them know that that's not acceptable with me. And when you start doing that, friends, when you start looking inwards and figuring out where your boundaries are and where your comfort level is with what's happening around you, and you start projecting that and start setting those boundaries out in the universe, then you will notice that your experiences will be more positive. Okay, so we're talking about positive mindset and gratitudes and journaling, and you can do so much of that, friends. But if you don't set those boundaries, then you're not going to experience the positivity that you're looking for. Okay, you can be the most positive person on the planet, but if you don't help other people to understand where your boundaries are, then you're not going to have positive experiences with those people. So in order to help with that, friends, look inwards and really come to understand where your comfort level is and come to understand where you may have inadvertently let one of your boundaries slide with other people. And it's very, very easy to rectify that, friends, and move forward and set those boundaries. It happens in all facets of life. It happens everywhere, not just at home. It happens with family. It happens with friends. It happens with coworkers. It happens with bosses at work. It happens at the grocery store with strangers. It's up to us to really be verbal and be able to explain ourselves and be able to speak in a way that sets those boundaries with people. So I do encourage you, friends. By the way, make sure that you put hashtag live if you're watching live. Mom and Rachel, I see that you're watching. Be sure to put hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, please put hashtag replay in the comments. Please also do put in the comments what topics you'd like us to cover on Mat Chat. So I challenge you, friends, for the next few days before I join you again on my mat. Monday, what day is that? No, Tuesday. I'll be joining you on my mat at 7:40 p.m. For the next few days over the weekend before I join you again on Tuesday, I challenge all of you to really pay attention to your boundaries. Pay attention to how other people are treating you and what your reaction is to that. Look inwards and find out if it's something that you can do. Have you let those people know that it's okay to treat you that way? Where are your boundaries, and have you set them appropriately to your comfort level? So I challenge you to do that, friends. Thank you very much for joining me tonight on I believe it's episode 9 of Mat Chat. Have you set your boundaries, my friends? We will see you Tuesday night at 7:40. Have a lovely evening. Good night.